Hi. So, in my last video, I talked about how allowing our children to suffer with support is critical to make them more courageous and resilient. And this is the courage and resilience which kind of makes them successful. Because let's face it, it's not like successful people never failed. The difference is that they mustered up the courage to rise up again and try again. And that's what we want to do for our children. In today's world of instant gratification, it can somewhere get lost that I don't want to try again because it's damn too difficult. So we want to help wire our children in a way that helps them to try one more time, yet again, yet again. So today we're going to delve deeper into this area of how to do it, and how can we help our children, but at the same time understanding what goes on in the brain so that we can help them better instead of just applying a little tactic there. So before we go ahead, let's understand what happens when your child is, let's say, like I said, when your child is suffering. Because when your child is suffering, he or she could be feeling angry, outraged, frustrated, disappointed, hurt, angry, resentful, and a lot of these things. And what happens is that they're feeling all of this because they're feeling stressed. They're feeling the stress of not being able to succeed at that particular task. And when your body is in a state of stress, or the individual is facing adversity, our physical body, it goes through a number of changes. It could uh, actually sometimes make us faster, and sometimes it makes us more capable of finishing up the task at hand. For example, if the lion was chasing you, you would run for your life, right? But let's say the lion is chasing you for the next 20 years, you are going to give up because you cannot cope up with that level of stress at all times. So, you know, y- now what happens actually when we're going through the stress? Actually, the body releases stress hormones, adrenaline, and cortisol. Our amygdala, that kind of gets activated. And when we are in stress, when the amygdala is activated, your prefrontal cortex, that's kind of closed. That's not working. And imagine if this brain, the prefrontal cortex is all closed, you cannot really function. You are in a permanent zone of stress. So what we have to help our children is to calm down, to get in a stage of peace and quiet, for the prefrontal cortex to open up so that they can start acting from the rational brain. And when they start acting from the rational brain, they will probably be able to try one more time. But if they are in this constant state of stress, the amygdala is permanently closed and they are not responding to, they're not able to calm themselves down, and the prefrontal cortex is not activated, this continuing behavior or state can lead to a lot of illnesses. And I don't want to talk about what can stress do to your body. I'm sure you all know and you've faced it of what it does. So our goal should be to calm down the amygdala, open up the prefrontal cortex, awaken the prefrontal cortex, and help our children. Now that we understand this a little bit, uh, let's try to now figure out that how are we going to do it. And there are obviously, it's not like there's one way to do it. There are numerous ways, and each child will respond differently to each of those tactics. But I'm going to just share a few of my favorite. One I've already shared with you is the presence of a supporting caregiver, a relationship, an adult who can support, who's there for me, and who's kind of, it's like the child knows that somebody's got my back, because that's what we need to do for our children. We need to have their back. So in any sort of stress and adversity, what's critical is to be there for our children, in a manner that is supportive, nourishing, nurturing, caring, and calming, most of all. But there can be a flip side to this. You want to be there, but not in their face. You want to kind of give them that space of trying to figure it out themselves. Don't just jump to rescue your child. Watch from a distance. See if your child is in distress. Jump in. But if you think your child may be hurt and but he or she is still able to manage it, great. Hands off, back off a little bit. So it's a very how do I put it? It's like walking on a very thin line, but that's what parenting is all about, right? Another extension of this is that build up that village of supportive people. It could be your friends, your family, grandparents, uncles and aunts, and all of this network. You could even use phrases like, "Oh, you know what? I told grandma and grandpa, or I told Masi that you did this, and she was extremely proud of you. Your grandpa and grandpa are extremely proud of you. They in fact want you to see you do it again." And they may not realize, or it may not sink in at that very moment, but it will sort of um, be there in their brains and help them recall it when they are in that state of stress and anxiety uh, ever again in life. So that's your next step. The other piece is, what is important is physical play. We often underestimate the power of physical play, but physical play actually helps our bodies to sort of calm down, get there, get our hands dirty, and connect with nature. When we connect with nature, we connect to our own spirit. We connect to ourselves better than anything else. And obviously, when we are connected with ourselves, we'll be better at whatever we are doing. Now, my last, and in fact, my most favorite trick is that meet them where they are, not where you want them to be. So, when children are struggling, when they're facing some sort of stress, sometimes a common behavior is that they go under a sense of withdrawal, they shut down. And that behavior could sometimes feel like he or she is quitting, but not yet. They're not quitting. During that state of withdrawal, now what is happening is they're actually processing, they're assimilating the information that, okay, I did this and XYZ happened. I could not actually do it, but maybe if I try again, I will be able to do it, right? So they have not quit yet. They're just trying to process it. It's the process of actually calming your amygdala and opening up your prefrontal cortex. Now, the problem here is sometimes as parents, we could rush this process. Each child is going to take their own time to, sort of be okay with trying again. But if you rush this process, it's actually adding to the stress. Be gentle with them and ask them after a considerable amount of time has passed that, are you ready to try again? By all these, means of, building up, um, you know, being there for your children, but not being in their face, building up a village where they have a group of supportive people that they can fall back on, encouraging them to play, encourage them to take risks, let them try, let them fail. It's okay. But the idea is to get them to try one more time. And most of all, most importantly, meet them where they are. This is critical, not where you would like them to be. By doing all of this, what you would do is you would have your child's back. And that's what we got to do. I mean, imagine if you were struggling at, let's say, you were struggling at a job, you have a new task and your manager has given it to you and you don't know how to go about it. So instead, imagine you struggling, or imagine you being coached by another senior person of how to go about it. You will definitely feel better with the coaching, right? Now, interesting thing is that some people may not like the coaching, and your child may not want to be coached, right? Your child may be thinking that, you know what, I can do it. Leave it up to me. I will do it when I can do it. That's okay. So, you know, kind of, you have to understand your child, what works better for them. You have to be able to identify that your child does better XYZ. But your clue should be that while they are performing better, how are they feeling? If they're feeling under stress by doing whatever they're doing, remember that continued stress, your amygdala is constantly shut down, the prefrontal cortex is not open. I don't need to explain what's going to happen, right? There are times when these kind of children, they grow up and they are permanently sick whenever it's exam time or result time. So we don't want that. We want our children to be able to face it. It's okay. I gave it my best shot and I'm ready for it. So, try these tricks and let me know how it goes. And I like sharing these insights and uh, research or readings that I do for children with all of you. If you like what you listen, please subscribe to my channel. And until next time, take care, have fun.